Good evening, welcome to the March 5th, 2024 meeting of the Arpa Committee. We currently have 3 members present and a guest, Mr. Charles Seelig. And we have no minutes from previous meetings at this time. I'll open the conversation up to Mr. Seelig.
Yeah, John, so what the table I gave you is based on what's your votes, in terms of recommendations to the board, select board, then the select board's votes, and then finally the board allocating money that had yet been set aside for particular projects. And the big change there is with the turf field. You'll see that blue line down at the bottom. The town meeting had voted to appropriate the necessary funding, I think it was 1.6 something, for the turf field at junior, senior high school. And in order to lower the drawdown of the capital stabilization fund and reduce the cost of borrowing, the board decided that the remaining funds that had not been allocated for particular projects so far should go to help fund the turf field. It's not a project that fits within Plymouth County's categories, so none of the money under the non-revenue loss for Plymouth County would be used. But the revenue loss money that the town was receiving and some of the revenue loss money that the town was receiving and all the revenue loss money that we would be seeing through Plymouth County would be used for this project. The table assumes, and this is something that Melanie had put together, that the projects under the non-revenue loss column, which is money we're getting from Plymouth County, would fit within the criteria for Plymouth County. So Melanie's working on submitting the various applications. A lot of them have already occurred. Some of them are in process, and some of them are in a situation that they've tentatively said yes, but we won't get a final yes or no until we finish and provide bills and everything else. So, but that's where we sit at this point. We're under deadlines. There's the federal deadline that we have to allocate the money no later by the end of the year, and we're doing that. However, the Plymouth County money, the Plymouth County wants to see more progress on that. In essence, not just that you've committed the money, but for instance, you've signed contracts and such for the various projects. So Melanie and myself, and in a sense a little bit of the select board, are gonna have to go back to these departments or entities and say, you've got to start showing some progress on this, because if you don't, either we're gonna have to reallocate the money or we're going to lose the money from Plymouth County. And we don't want a situation like that.
Plymouth County give you any?
Sorry.
Thank you. No problem. I don't know if it was email. I like to check my email. It wasn't there, so I was make sure I have one. Thank you.
Has Plymouth County set any deadlines for that speeding up process?
I believe, I'd have to check with Melanie. I know there was a March deadline. I don't think we've already hit it. I know that they wanted, in essence, a plan in which she had done a draft. I don't know whether she sent that in yet, but she knows what the deadline is and will meet the deadline for submitting the necessary information to Plymouth County, not just on a per application basis, but they wanted more of a narrative of how we were planning on spending the money, even if we had not sent applications in yet for particular projects.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Gigi?
No,
Nadia?
I'm just,
Trying to catch up.
yeah, catch up, I know.
Sorry.
So, yeah, the 3 columns are the non-revenue loss, which is for Plymouth County, and those are the ones where we are restricted in terms of how to use the money. The green ones are either have been applied for already and in many cases have been approved. The sort of bluish gray ones are ones that we're hoping at this point that they would approve. So for instance, the sidewalks on Union Street as an example, where we think we can make the case that it's gonna fit within their categories. But we haven't gotten a commitment from them yet that it will do so. Over on the revenue loss side, the green ones are ones that the board has already approved. And the blue-gray ones are, I believe, the ones on hold at this point.
And maybe I missed it, but why those ones are on hold?
Through decisions by the board of selectmen.
Would they be revisit at some point
If
after the funds
I'm
are?
looking, well, that's what I'm looking at right now in terms of, one point, I have to do the math here. 1, 2, 1, 750. What I would say is that the gray ones, there's money still available. Those ones, the blue-gray ones, and the board would have to go back and make an actual decision to go ahead with those projects.
Go ahead, finish. Question I see right away is the $625,000 pavilion is allocated as $250 from,
Right, John Haynes has talked, Brian and John have talked to the board and feel that they can do, it probably would not have all the bells and whistles, but they feel they could do a pavilion that would provide the major part of what the council on aging is trying to do for that amount of money.
okay?
But that's gonna be one where, as I, we think it can fall into Plymouth County, but, they're gonna have to, between DPW and Council on Aging, they're going to have to get some specifications put together fairly, not quickly as in days or weeks, but fairly soon. Because, if we're using Plymouth County money, we'll have to have a contractor signed on before the end of the year. We're already in March, we need to get specifications, we need to go out to bid and everything like that, so, we wanna make sure, in fact, it's gonna fit within the parameters of how much money we've allocated for that.
Have we, actually spent any money yet?
Oh, yeah, I mean, well, and we're in the process of spending money, so for instance, the mental health and social, that was one of the early ones, the 600,000 for the school system. North Bedford Street sewer, we're in the process. The ambulance, of course, got purchased a while ago. I think the inclusive playground equipment, I have to go back and check with John Shea whether that's at least on order at this point. So I know that some of these they've moved ahead.
Okay, that's good.
But in many cases, I mean, it's been, what then, 4 months, a little less than 4 months since the board approved. And we've been going through the winter, so that in many cases, a lot of these projects couldn't have gone forward if they're outdoor projects. For instance, but, the outdoor movie system, those are all components that are being purchased, I know. It's gonna be, they'll have it in store, they're not gonna, you don't leave something like that out in the winter, but
Right.
you can at least purchase the items during the winter. I think, when Melanie had met with the select board, I think they indicated that they needed to work with the DPW and probably at this point now, at least every couple of weeks, get a progress report on the projects to make sure that they are moving forward
That's
if
what I
there
was
are
gonna ask you.
problems.
Yeah, the progress of those approval for those items.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's moving right along, it looks like, for the most part.
Anybody else have any questions on any of the projects?
So the ones, like the electronic signs, we haven't voted on those yet, right?
The board has approved them. The one for the town hall, they approved. The, I think the ones for the school were set aside for this, at this point.
Okay.
So all the on-hold ones, there's no money allocated and to spend it. It's the money that's next to, say, the first on Holman, the sidewalks on Union Street, that's allocated, but nothing's been spent. The same for the rest of the ones in the blue-gray.
And what we could, Melanie and I can do, working again, since most of these, one way or the other, the DPW is gonna be involved, is try and get you those, if we're gonna go, let's say, every select board meeting for an update, that you all get a copy of that update, so you're aware.
So, with all this done where they've actually voted on this stuff, you know, taking using our recommendations or not, whatever, but it's all been kind of approved by them at this point in time.
Yeah.
Going forward from this point, how much are we going to be involved?
I don't think there's any necessity in the near future for you all to meet. I'd like the committee to still exist, obviously. If we get to a point this summer, for instance, or this fall, we find that, we have projects that aren't moving forward and we want to consider other projects, then I think you all should be part of that discussion.
Right, that's kind of where I was going. My recommendation was that, you know, we kind of were there, and if something's needed, we schedule a meeting and we'll act at that point in time. To move forward, but not to, absolutely not dissolve it at this point in time, because of exactly what you said could happen. Anybody else have any comments? Concerns?
So do you wanna pick like a 6-month date out, or from today's date, or
I
you
think
think that'll
if
be-
we,
Maybe 3 months?
3 months?
I mean, I just assume leave it that you and Melanie see that something's happening, you know, you'll know a couple of weeks ahead of time, and just at that point in time, we can schedule a meeting. Rather than throw one out there and then have to do something before it anyway, or reschedule another one, it'd be just as easy. If something's happening,
Right.
you're gonna know.
And it is sometimes availability of quorum, and
I understand, yes.
so I just feel like anytime, like if you do need to reschedule a meeting, it's a matter of just, okay, off the table, taken off the list, and then you can reschedule after, but at least have a firm date 3 months out. Gives us, opportunity to, before then or after then, it may not happen, but we can always reschedule. But when you don't have anything and then trying to get it
Right,
come together, as you can see, it's challenging.
that's a good point.
So
So
I just think we should pick a date.
So
So I have to motion to get a date, no, I'm just saying.
it'll be June 5th. See what day of the week that comes out to be.
Tuesdays, right?
5th.
It's a Wednesday.
Yep, so June 4th?
Sure, I got absolutely no appointments that day right now.
Same time? 6?
6/4, 6 PM?
Yes. And like I said, if it doesn't, nothing to report, then it's off the table.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
There is a quorum now that Nadia got there.
Sorry, I'm always like a few minutes late. I apologize.
I knew you were coming, Nadia.
Thank you. You can count on me. If I didn't say anything in the email, then you can count me in. John always forgets me sometimes, so it's okay.
It's the same meal list.
Sometimes you forget about me. I'm like, John, I'm here at the town hall. Nobody's here.
Oh, that will happen one time, and I apologize again.
It's okay.
All right, anything anybody else wants to bring up about anything?
Did you get to see those projects down the Church Street?
I haven't.
Pickleball?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't been there.
Yeah, I see.
I'll have to. I spend most of my
Nice.
time at the garden, even in the winter.
Yeah, I see.
It's worth it just to drive down there and,
Yeah, I will. Yeah, in fact, I thought about it today, just with the weather, I didn't bother going.
It'll be nice to see some of these others, too.
Yeah. The hard work, some pays off some way, somehow.
so, before we finish, just to clarify, so everything that's on hold is still up in the air as far as the board is concerned?
Correct. Well,
And-
like I said, I think I need to, for instance, Katie's Trucking's on hold and they don't, there's no number there. I think what I want to check with Melanie is for instance, with the sidewalks for Union Street, where we're proposing spending $660,000, when she says on hold, I want to see whether that got updated by the select board or not.
Okay.
But I think where you see numbers are where we've made commitments of some sort, either through the select board action or just setting aside the money for now, for the select board to act on. Where you see a few of them that we don't have, money aside, money in that line, you can assume for right now that's not happening. So for instance, I think one of the reasons for Central School for the electronic sign not happening down there is just when I was down the hill, is we're thinking of doing the whole renovation of Central School, and even though it's a few years away, it may not make sense to spend $50,000, $60,000 on a sign down there if we can include it in the overall,
Budget.
where Mitchell is where it's gonna be. It's not,
Yep.
we're not doing we're gonna have to eventually do some work there for the roof and windows there, but that doesn't have, the sign can go up with no problem there.
I'm biting my tongue on the signs, but
Yeah, I understand.
that slipped out. I mean, I think that's all I have for questions. I mean, I think we're in good shape, and, appreciate everything members of the committee have done over the past year and a half, 2 years.
We're taking a
almost 2
number of
years
nights
now.
out of their lives to come here and listen to people applying for the money and discuss with each other and make recommendations to the board. It was greatly appreciated.
Special kudos to Melanie for keeping track of all that, and yourself.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, I have to,
Many hats
I have
at
to
this
agree
point.
with that. I had questions on that turf, and she was back to me within minutes,
Yep,
which is
it
unbelievable.
was extremely helpful.
I'll tell her that.
You too, Charlie.
And Rebecca, too, for doing the posting for us.
I know, I just sent myself a note that we'll have to get the posting done for June and get it done tomorrow so we don't forget about it, so it's there.
Right, so I'll cross that off my list of two. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second by Ken. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you
you
so
for
much.
Thank you, Charlie.